Jilted at City Hall. The third time my fiancé stood me up at the altar, or in this case, the county clerk's office. The clerk said the handsome guy a few seats over had also been waiting all day. For the third time. You two should just get married. Our eyes met for 10 seconds. Okay, we said in unison. 10 minutes later, I had a husband. This is the third time, Alex. Are you trying to make me look like a complete fool? I hissed into my phone, my voice echoing in the marble hall of the Denver City Hall. A few other couples waiting for their appointments glanced over. On the other end was my fiancé, Alex Vance, and his usual dismissive tone. A huge client just flew in, babe. You know how it is. You're the most understanding. I promise, next time for sure. The clerk, a woman named Brenda with seen-it-all eyes, leaned out from behind her window. She pointed a pen at the clock on the wall. Ma'am, we're closing in 15. Outside the glass doors, a man in a crisp black shirt had just hung up his own phone, pinching the bridge of his nose. Brenda looked from him to me, and a wry smile touched her lips. What a coincidence. That's the third time for him, too. You both wasted your day. Why don't you two just get hitched? The air froze for a solid 10 seconds. The man turned his head. I lifted my gaze. His eyes held the same humiliation as mine, the same fury, and the same self-destructive, what the hell recklessness. Okay, we said at the same time. My name is Chloe Miller. I'm 29, and today was supposed to be my wedding day. Now, I was sitting on a cold plastic chair in a government building, staring at the last text from Alex. Work emergency. Love you. Sent 4 hours ago, right when we were supposed to meet. Outside, the sky had faded from bright blue to a bruised purple. At my feet was a tote bag with our documents and a small box of gourmet chocolates I'd brought for the clerks. The gold foil corner peeked out, glinting like a tiny, mocking star. Brenda, the clerk, had already tidied her desk. On her third pass by my chair, she sighed. Honey, you should go home. If a man really wants to be here, he'll crawl through a blizzard to make it. I nodded but didn't move. My body felt nailed to the spot. The first 2 times were just like this. Once, his dad had a sudden health scare. The next, a critical project issue, out of state. I believed him every time. Each time, he'd held me and said, I'm so sorry, babe. Each time, I forgave him. My mom's voice echoed in my head from our last call. Chloe, it's 3 strikes and you're out. Don't you get that? I got it. That's why today I'd worn my favorite dress, perfected my makeup, and tucked a positive pregnancy test into my purse. It was supposed to be a surprise. Now, that surprise felt like a cooling iron against my heart. My phone rang. It was my mom, her voice cheerful. Is it done? Send me a picture. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. My throat was thick with unshed tears. The line went quiet for 2 seconds. Her tone shifted instantly. He didn't show up again, did he? Where are you? You're not still sitting there, are you? Go home. Her voice rose. Go home right now. Don't you dare make a fool of yourself. I hung up. Make a fool of yourself. The words were like needles. All our friends and family knew I was getting my marriage license today. My neighbor had wished me luck this morning, saying she couldn't wait for the wedding. Now I had to go home alone and face their questions, their pity, and the smug satisfaction hidden beneath it. Footsteps echoed in the corridor. I looked up to see a man walking out of another office. Black shirt, sleeves rolled to his elbows, revealing a handsome, expensive-looking watch. He was on the phone, his voice tight with suppressed rage. Fine, you're busy. You're always busy. Don't bother explaining, Jessica. We're done. He hung up with such force he nearly dropped his phone. Our eyes met across the 10 feet of polished linoleum. His were bloodshot. I figured mine were too. Fellow travelers in misery, but neither of us was in the mood for small talk. He walked towards the main entrance. I looked down at my shoes. Brenda, locking up, saw his retreating back, then looked at me. That's when she said the words that changed everything. The words were a joke, tossed out lightly, but they detonated something between us. And then we both said, okay. After the word was out, both the man in the black shirt and I froze. Brenda froze too, the ring of keys in her hand clattering to the floor. I was just kidding, she mumbled, bending to pick them up. I'm not, the man said, walking back towards me. He was a head taller than me, and he smelled faintly of cedar and tobacco. Leo Sterling, 29. I run a small software company. No DUIs, no felonies. Parents are healthy. One sister in college. He spoke quickly, like he was reciting a resume. If you're serious, we can get this done right now. I looked up at him. His eyes were deep set, and right now they held no hint of a joke, only a desperate, scorched earth resolve. Why? I asked. Because I'm done with this too. He pulled at the corner of his mouth in something that wasn't a smile. Third time, always a last-minute thing, always her job being more important. I canceled 3 meetings to be here today, waiting like an idiot all afternoon. His words struck a nerve. We had suffered the exact same humiliation. The pregnancy test in my bag suddenly felt impossibly heavy. If Alex knew I was pregnant, would he still have done this? And if he knew and did it anyway, what did that make me? What did that make our baby? The thought made my stomach churn. Chloe Miller, 29, I said, getting to my feet. My legs were stiff. I'm a creative director at an ad agency. Parents are divorced. I live with my mom. I have a mortgage and a cat. Leo Sterling nodded. So, are we doing this? Yes. Brenda's eyes widened. Are you too crazy? This is a marriage, not buying groceries. Even with groceries, you don't pick the rotten ones, do you? I said, looking at Leo. Brenda, please. We both have our paperwork. Leo pulled his driver's license and birth certificate from his jacket. I pulled mine from the tote bag. We were both fully prepared for partners who never showed. Brenda looked at us, then at the clock, and took a deep breath. All right, get in here. You kids are going to be the death of me. We sat in front of the plain blue backdrop for the license photo. The young photographer looked from me to Leo, his mouth half open as if to say something, then thought better of it. Just as the flash was about to go off, Leo whispered, "Last chance to back out." "No regrets," I said, forcing a smile for the camera. In the photo, there was a fist's width of space between our shoulders. Our expressions were as stiff as masks, but it was a picture of us, together, filling out forms, signing our names, giving our thumbprints. The whole thing took less than 20 minutes. When the embossed seal pressed down on the 2 official copies of the marriage certificate, my hand trembled. Leo's was shaking too, but his signature was firm. "Congratulations, you're legally married," Brenda said, handing us the documents with a complicated expression. "Kids, marriage isn't a game of chicken." "We know," Leo said, taking the papers. He turned to me. "Where to now?" My mind was a blank. Where could I go? Home? To face my mother's fury and tears? To Alex's office to throw this certificate in his face? My phone buzzed again. It was Alex. For the first time, I didn't answer immediately. "You should take it," Leo said. "You need closure," I answered. Alex's voice, breezy and casual, came through. "Hey babe, you must have been waiting forever. I just wrapped up. I'll come pick you up. We'll get dinner." My treat. "Alex." I cut him off. "I'm still at City Hall." "You're still there?" "They haven't closed?" "They're closed," I said, looking at the crisp certificate in my hand. "But I got married." Silence. Then a disbelieving laugh. "Chloe, stop it. I know you're mad, but that's not a funny joke." "I'm not joking. Want me to send you a picture of the certificate?" My voice was unnervingly calm. "Oh, and I was going to tell you today I'm pregnant. 6 weeks. But that's not your problem anymore." "I'll handle it." The line went dead quiet. A few seconds later, his voice came back, frantic. "Chloe, are you insane? You're pregnant with my child and you married someone else? You wait right there. I'm coming over. Where are you?" "Don't bother." I hung up and turned off my phone. Then I looked at Leo. "Do you have somewhere to go?" "I don't really want to go home right now." Leo looked at me. There was surprise in his eyes, confusion, but it all melted into a kind of weary, shared understanding. "Yeah, I have a condo near my office I use when I work late. You can stay there." We walked out of City Hall, one behind the other. The sky was completely dark. Streetlights cast long, distorted shadows on the pavement. Leo went to get his car while I waited by the curb, clutching the new marriage certificate. Married. To a man I'd known for less than an hour. I placed a hand on my stomach. It was still flat, but a new life was growing inside. Alex's child. And I had just married another man. The realization made my knees weak. I grabbed a nearby light pole to steady myself, taking deep breaths. A black SUV pulled up in front of me. Leo rolled down the window. "Get in." I opened the door and slid inside. The car was clean and smelled of the same cedar scent he wore. He didn't start the engine right away. Instead, he handed me an unopened bottle of water. "Thanks." I twisted it open and took a sip. The cold water soothed my raw throat and cleared my head a little. "About what I heard you say on the phone." I started, my heart pounding. "I'm pregnant. With my ex's child." I said the words and waited for his reaction. Anger? Regret? An order to get out of his car? Leo was quiet for a moment, his fingers tapping on the steering wheel. "My ex-girlfriend told me last week that her boss needs her more than I do, so she's choosing to stay by his side as his assistant instead of marrying me." He gave a humorless laugh. "For all I know, she's pregnant with his kid, who knows?" He looked at me, his face half lit by the passing streetlights, his jaw tight. "So," he said, turning back to the road, "we're a couple of jilted fools who made a rash decision. You have my phone number, my company's address, and a marriage certificate with my name on it. I'm not going to hurt you or try anything. You need a place to clear your head. I need someone to help me deal with my family. My mom has late-stage lung cancer. Her last wish is to see me settled down." The car filled with silence again, broken only by the hum of the engine. The city lights streamed past the window like a silent river. "Deal," I whispered. The car pulled into a modern condominium complex. Leo's apartment was on the 12th floor. A one-bedroom, furnished with the sterile simplicity of a hotel suite. It had very little personality. He opened the door to the spare room, which was set up as an office with a pull-out sofa. "You can sleep here. The linens are fresh. There's some food in the fridge. I'll take the living room couch." "Thank you. Don't mention it." He turned to leave, then paused. "What's your plan for tomorrow?" "Tomorrow." The word felt alien. Tomorrow. I had to go to work and face the sympathetic or gossipy looks of my colleagues. Tomorrow, I had to tell my mother I was married, but not to Alex. Tomorrow, I had to figure out what to do about the baby in my belly. "I don't know," I said honestly. Leo nodded. "Then just get some sleep. The world won't end, and even if it does, there are two of us to hold it up now." He closed the door. I sat on the unfamiliar bed and turned on my phone. Dozens of missed calls and messages flooded in, from Alex, my mom, my best friend, Maya, and a long, rambling voice message from Alex. I deleted it without listening. Then I opened Maya's text. "Chloe, where are you?" "Alex is losing his mind," he called me saying, "You're pregnant and married someone else. What is going on?" I called her. Maya was my college roommate, my closest friend. She picked up on the first ring. "Chloe? Are you okay? Are you safe?" "I'm safe," I said, my nose starting to burn. "Maya, I did something completely insane today." After I finished my story, Maya was silent on the other end for a full minute. "So, you're in a strange man's apartment right now. Chloe, I know Alex is a bastard who broke your heart, but do you even know this guy? What if he's dangerous? He doesn't know I'm pregnant. I mean, he heard me say it, but we haven't talked about it." I paused. "And his mom has terminal cancer. He just wants to fulfill her last wish. We're both just using each other." "Using each other?" Maya's voice rose. "Is that what marriage is now? This is a legal contract, Chloe. You're his wife. What if he has debts? What if he's a con artist?" "Maya," I interrupted her, "Alex conned me for 3 years. I moved to Denver for him, left a great job in Chicago. I helped take care of his sick father. When he was starting his business, I gave him my entire savings. And what did I get? Stood up at the altar for the 3rd time. If a man really wants to marry you, he doesn't make you wait 3 times. Maya went quiet. She knew everything I'd been through with Alex. "What about the baby?" she asked softly. I touched my stomach, and the tears finally came. "I don't know," I sobbed. "I really don't know." I heard Maya sigh on the other end. "Send me your address. I'm coming over tomorrow. Tonight, lock your door. If anything feels wrong, you call 911 immediately. You hear me?" After hanging up, I sent her the address and went into the bathroom. The woman in the mirror had red, swollen eyes and smeared makeup, but her mouth was set in a stubborn line. I washed my face and stared at my reflection. "Look at you, Chloe Miller, 29 years old, pregnant by your ex, jilted for the 3rd time, and married to a stranger in a fit of pique. Could life get any messier?" My phone screen lit up. My mom. I watched her name flash, unable to find the courage to answer. Finally, I sent a text. "Mom, I'm staying at Maya's tonight. I'll explain tomorrow. I'm okay, don't worry." After sending it, I turned off my phone and burrowed into the strange bedding. It smelled clean, like sunshine, but it was cold. Outside was the sprawling Denver night, a million lights, and not a single one felt like it belonged to me. No, maybe one did now. The lamp in the living room was still on, a thin sliver of light seeping under the door. The man named Leo, my legal husband, was out there. A stranger. I closed my eyes, today's events replaying like a movie. Alex's careless text, Brenda's pitying gaze, the resolve in Leo's voice when he said, "Okay," the thud of the official seal, Alex's panic on the phone. Did I do the right thing? I had no idea, but I knew that if I had to choose again, I would still walk into that office and sign my name, because some pain can only be covered by a greater pain. Some despair can only be broken by a more desperate act. Sleep finally came. Just before I drifted off, I heard faint footsteps in the living room, the sound of water running, and a light switch clicking off. Then, silence. This long, absurd, life-altering day was finally over. Sunlight sliced through the blinds, striping my face. I opened my eyes, disoriented for a few seconds. Unfamiliar ceiling, unfamiliar room, the faint scent of cedar in the air. Then the memories flooded back. City Hall, the marriage certificate, Leo, and the baby in my belly whose fate was still unknown. I shot up, my hand instinctively going to my stomach. I could hear soft movements from the living room. Taking a deep breath, I opened the door. Leo was already up, dressed in a simple white t-shirt and gray sweatpants, making coffee in the kitchen. The morning light framed his silhouette, making him seem more real than last night. "Morning," he said, glancing over his shoulder. His tone was as casual as a roommate's. "Morning," I replied, standing awkwardly in the middle of the room. On the coffee table, our two marriage certificates sat side by side, their official seals a glaring red. "Coffee or milk?" he asked. "Milk, please. Thanks." "I shouldn't have caffeine right now." He poured me a glass. The microwave dinged, and he took out 2 toasted breakfast sandwiches. "It's not much, but it's what I usually have." We sat on opposite sides of his small dining table, the silence so thick you could cut it with a knife. "Sleep okay?" he asked, trying to make conversation. "Fine," I lied. "I'd barely slept. You?" "The couch is a little short," he said, rubbing his neck. Silence fell again. We were like 2 strangers forced to share a table at a crowded cafe. My phone, now on, buzzed incessantly. Dozens of missed calls, mostly from Alex and my mom. Maya had sent a few texts. "Awake yet? I'll be there around 10. Don't be scared, I got you." My eyes stung. I took a big gulp of milk. "What's your plan for today?" Leo asked. "Go to the office," I said. "Can't just not show up. I'll give you a ride." "You don't have to. I can get an Uber." "It's on my way," he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. "My office is downtown too." He picked up the marriage certificates from the coffee table and handed one to me. "You should keep this." I took the thin document. It felt as heavy as a brick. In the photo, we sat side by side, with enough space between us for another person. We left the apartment, rode the elevator down in silence. The building was quiet, an old man walking his dog in the courtyard. We walked a few feet apart. His black SUV was in its designated spot. I hesitated for a second, then got into the passenger seat. The car was spotless, no clutter. He expertly backed out and merged into the morning rush hour traffic, a slow-moving river of steel. The radio played soft jazz, doing nothing to ease the tension. We both started at the same time. "You first," he said. "How is your mom?" I asked. His fingers tightened on the steering wheel. "It's terminal. The doctors say she doesn't have much time." His voice was low. Her biggest wish was to see me married. "I'm sorry," I said. "Why are you sorry? If it weren't for this, you wouldn't have." "I made my choice," he cut me off. "What about you? What are you going to do?" I knew he was asking about the baby. "I haven't decided yet," I said, watching the city streets fly by. "Do you need me to do anything?" he asked, the words sounding difficult. "No." I shook my head. "This is my business." The car pulled up in front of my office building, a modern glass and steel high-rise. "Thanks," I said, unbuckling my seatbelt. "What about after work?" he asked. "I'm meeting Maya." "Okay," he nodded. "Call me if you need anything." I got out and walked into the building without looking back, but I could feel his eyes on me. The atmosphere in the office was strange. The receptionist's eyes darted away when she saw me. "Morning, Chloe." "Morning." I tried to act normal as I walked to my desk. A few colleagues who had been chatting fell silent and scurried back to their cubicles, pretending to be busy. Their whispers followed me like mosquitoes. I had just turned on my computer when Rick Donovan, a project manager from another team, sauntered over with his coffee mug. "Well, well, Chloe, heard you tied the knot yesterday. Congrats." His voice was loud enough for the whole floor to hear. The office went dead silent. Every ear was tuned in. I had taken the day off for the explicit purpose of getting married. Everyone knew. "Thanks," I managed a weak smile. "So who's the lucky guy? You kept him under wraps pretty well." He leaned against my cubicle wall. "When are you bringing him around? We've got to celebrate properly." "He's busy. Maybe some other time." I stared at my screen, tapping random keys. "Nobody's too busy for a celebratory dinner," Rick pressed on. "What, you scared we'll get him drunk? Don't worry, we'll behave." "Rick, the morning briefing is starting," my assistant, a young woman named Sarah, said, appearing at just the right moment. "Oh, right," Rick slapped his forehead. "Chloe, almost forgot. 9:30, main conference room. The Blue Sky Group pitch. How's it looking? Today's the big one." "It's ready," I said, relieved. "Great, it's all on you." He finally walked away. I gave Sarah a grateful look. She winked. My phone vibrated in my pocket. It was Alex. I declined the call and blocked his number. A WhatsApp message popped up immediately. "Chloe, answer the phone. We need to talk." "Do you have any idea what you're doing?" "Who is that guy?" "You get back here right now." One message after another, frantic and demanding. I blocked him on WhatsApp too. Finally, peace. The morning meeting was tense. My boss made a point of saying, "Congratulations, Chloe," which was met with a smattering of half-hearted applause and intensely curious stares. I forced myself to focus on the presentation, but I could feel their eyes on me. They must have heard something. What if Alex, unable to reach me, showed up at the office? The thought made me sick. During a break, I went to the restroom. I just stepped into a stall when two women from the media department came in, chatting. "Is it true? Did Chloe really get married yesterday? Who knows? Does she look like a happy newlywed to you?" "She looks awful." I heard Alex totally blew her off, stood her up at City Hall. For the third time. So tragic. "Get this. Here's the crazy part," one of them whispered excitedly. "I heard she ended up marrying some other guy who also got jilted. Right there, yesterday afternoon." "Oh my God, seriously? That's insane." "I know, right? Apparently the guy is decent looking, but who knows what he's really like. She's gambling with her whole life." "Well, you can't really blame her. Alex is a total jerk. Everyone in the office knows he's been getting way too friendly with that new intern at the front desk." "Shh, keep it down." The toilet flushed. I pushed open the stall door and walked out. The two women froze, their faces turning pale. I walked slowly to the sink, turned on the faucet, and began to wash my hands. In the mirror, my face was ashen, but my eyes were cold. "Jessica, Amanda," I said, turning off the water. "Chloe," they stammered. The updated media stats for the Blue Sky pitch. "On my desk in 30 minutes," I said, pulling a paper towel from the dispenser and drying my hands meticulously. "I want the latest numbers. Double-check them for accuracy." "Yes, right away." "And one more thing," I said, looking them straight in the eye. "The company pays you to work, not to gossip. Understood?" "Understood," they mumbled, practically running out of the room. I spent the rest of the day buried in work. Only by staying busy could I forget the chaos of my life, but trouble found me anyway. Around 3 p.m., the front desk called my line. "Chloe, there's an Alex Vance here to see you. He says it's urgent, and you have to come down." Sooner or later, it had to happen. "Tell him I'm in a meeting." "He says if you don't come down, he's coming up," the receptionist said, her voice strained. I clenched the receiver. I knew Alex. He was capable of it. "I'll be right down." In the coffee shop in our building's lobby, Alex sat in a corner booth, His shirt was wrinkled, his eyes were bloodshot, and his hair was a mess. He jumped up the moment he saw me. "Chloe," he said, reaching for my hand. I stepped back. "Let's just talk here." I sat down across from him. "Chloe, do you know I've been looking for you all night?" he said, his voice urgent. "Where were you? Who is that guy? Tell me, did he force you?" "Nobody forced me," I said, looking at him. "Alex, we're over." "No, we're not," he said, his voice rising, drawing stares from other patrons. "I don't agree. Just because I was late one more time? It was my fault, okay? I'm sorry, but it was a work emergency. What was I supposed to do?" "You weren't late," I corrected him calmly. "You didn't show up." "For the third time. This time was a real emergency. That client, there's always an emergency." I cut him off. "Alex." The boy who cried wolf eventually gets ignored. He stared at me, his chest heaving. "Is this about the baby?" he said, lowering his voice. "You're pregnant, so you just grabbed the first guy you saw and married him? Are you stupid, Chloe? That's my child. You should have come to me." "Come to you?" I laughed. "Come to you and wait indefinitely? Wait until the baby is born and the man who should be his father still won't give him a name? We can get married right now." "Let's go," he pleaded. Too late. I took out my phone, pulled up the photo of the marriage certificate, and pushed it across the table. Legally, I'm another man's wife. Alex stared at the screen, his eyes wide with fury. He raised his hand as if to smash the phone, but I snatched it back first. "You!" His face was a mask of rage. He pointed a shaking finger at me. "You're ruthless, Chloe Miller. Absolutely ruthless." "Takes one to know one," I said, standing up. "Don't contact me again." "In your dreams," he hissed, standing as well, leaning over the table. "You're carrying my child. This isn't over. I will not let my son call another man dad." "Then what do you want to do?" "Get rid of it," he blurted out. "Or have it and give it to me. I won't let my child be raised by a mother who would marry a complete stranger." His words were like a shard of ice to the heart. This was the man I had loved and waited for 3 years. He was a complete stranger to me now. "Alex," I said, my voice shaking with a mix of anger and exhaustion, "you disgust me." I turned and walked away, ignoring his furious shouts behind me. Outside the coffee shop, the sunlight was blinding. My legs felt weak, and I had to lean against the wall to stay upright. A sharp, cramping pain shot through my lower abdomen. I clutched my stomach, breathing deeply. "Are you okay?" a familiar voice asked. I looked up to see Leo standing nearby, a frown on his face. He was holding his car keys, looking like he'd just been passing by. "What are you doing here?" I asked, straightening up. "I had a meeting with a client nearby," he said, walking over. His eyes scanned my pale face. "He gave you trouble?" "It's handled," I said curtly. "Do you need—" "No," I cut him off. "I can handle it myself." He studied me for a moment, then didn't push. "It's the end of the day. I'll take you home. I'm meeting Maya. Then I'll take both of you." This time he didn't give me a choice. Maya's eyes went wide when she saw me get into Leo's car. I pulled her aside and quickly filled her in on my meeting with Alex. "He said that? That you should get rid of the baby?" Maya was furious. "That bastard. He chased you like a lost puppy for a year, and now he pulls this?" "It's over," I said, getting into the car. Leo was tactful enough to stay silent for the entire drive, focusing on the road. He dropped us off at the entrance to my apartment building. "If you need me, I can," he started, getting out of the car. "Thanks, but no," I shook my head. "Maya's here with me." He nodded, didn't say more, and drove off. "He seems decent," Maya said, watching his car disappear. "Better than that scumbag Alex, anyway. We've known each other for a day." "How can you tell?" I said, pulling her towards the building. Back in the familiar comfort of my apartment, I started to relax. Maya did a full sweep to make sure Alex wasn't lurking around before she finally settled down. "What about your mom? What did you tell her?" she asked. My scalp prickled. The inevitable. I took a deep breath and dialed her number. "Chloe, what happened yesterday? Did everything go smoothly? Send me a picture." My mom's rapid-fire questions hit me as soon as she answered. "Mom," I started, the words feeling heavy. "I got married." "I know you got married, as long as it's done. That Alex, even though he can be unreliable sometimes." "It's not Alex." I cut her off. The line went silent. A few seconds later, my mom's voice came back, an octave higher. What did you say? If it's not Alex, then who is it? Chloe, you better explain yourself right now. Alex didn't show up, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He stood me up. So, I married someone else who was also stood up. A long, suffocating silence. Then, a sharp intake of breath, thick with rage. Chloe, my mom's voice was trembling. Say that again. You married a complete stranger? Have you lost your mind? Mom, let me explain. I don't want to hear it, she shrieked. You go and get a divorce. Right now. This is ridiculous. What will people say? What will I tell the neighbors? That my daughter was so desperate she married some bum off the street. He's not a bum. His name is Leo Sterling. He runs his own company. He seems like a good person. A good person? What kind of good person marries a stranger on a whim? He's a con artist, that's what he is. Did he scam you out of money? What did he take from you? Nothing. We're both just getting something we need out of this. Getting something you need? Is marriage a business transaction? I'm telling you, Chloe, you divorce him right now, or you're no daughter of mine. Click. She hung up. I held the silent phone, feeling a chill spread through my body. Maya looked at me, worried. She took it badly, huh? I forced a smile that felt more like a grimace. About as expected. That night, Maya stayed over. We curled up on my bed like we used to in college. I told her I was pregnant. She was quiet for a long time. Are you going to tell Leo? She asked. I don't know, I whispered. I haven't thought that far. Are you keeping the baby? I don't know. I placed my hand on my still flat stomach. Maya, am I a complete failure? I'm 29. My career is stalled. My love life is a disaster. I'm in a sham marriage, and I'm pregnant with my ex-boyfriend's child. Don't talk like that, Maya said, pulling me into a hug. Alex doesn't deserve you. This is his fault. But it's my fault too. I mumbled into her shoulder. I was so stupid. I waited for 3 years, thinking he would change. The tears I'd been holding back finally broke free. Maya just held me, patting my back gently. Cry it out. It's okay, she whispered. But Chloe, you need to pull yourself together, and fast. You're not alone in this anymore. You're not alone. The words sent a strange shiver through me. It was true. Whether I kept this baby or not, my life had been turned upside down. The next day was Saturday. I turned on my phone to a flood of missed calls from my mom and from Alex, using a new number. There was also a text from Leo. Let me know if you need help with anything. Concise and to the point. Thanks, I replied. Around noon, the doorbell rang. Maya answered it and let out a little gasp. I walked over to see Leo standing there, holding several grocery bags filled with fresh vegetables, fruit, and meat. I was driving by and thought I'd pick some things up, he said, his expression neutral. Can't live on takeout forever. He walked into the kitchen as if he'd been there 100 times and started putting things away. Maya and I just stared at each other. Mr. Sterling, you really don't have to do this, I said. It's no trouble, he said without looking up. And call me Leo. I'm a decent cook. He was efficient, washing and chopping vegetables with a practiced ease. Maya nudged me with her elbow and gave me a look that clearly said, bonus points. Lunch was 3 simple dishes and a soup, but it was surprisingly delicious. You cook often? Maya asked. Got used to it, living alone, Leo said. The atmosphere was still a bit awkward, but better than yesterday. At least we could make small talk. After lunch, as Leo was clearing the dishes, my phone rang again. It was my mom. I hesitated, then Leo walked over, drying his hands on a towel. Do you want me to talk to her? He asked. And say what? I gave a bitter laugh. That we fell in love at first sight and got married on a whim? We can say we were set up by a friend, knew each other for a while, and decided to just go for it, he offered. It's better than the truth. It was clear he'd already thought of a cover story. I took a deep breath, answered the phone, and put it on speaker. Mom. Chloe, have you grown wings? How dare you not answer my calls? My mother's furious voice blasted from the phone. I was busy. Busy with what? Busy with that con man? Mom, Leo's not a con man, I said, glancing at him. He was perfectly calm. We've known each other for a while. A friend introduced us. We felt it was right, so we got married. A friend? Which friend? Why don't I know about this? Stop lying to me. It was Maya's friend, I improvised, looking at Maya. She immediately caught on. Auntie, it was me! Maya leaned in close to the phone. I introduced them. Leo's a college classmate of mine. He's a really great guy, runs his own company, has a house, a car, way better than Alex. There was a pause on the other end. Maya, is that true? You're not covering for her, are you? Absolutely true. I swear on my life, Maya said, patting her chest. Leo's been crazy about Chloe for ages. The wedding thing yesterday was a spur-of-the-moment decision. They wanted to surprise you. Surprise me? More like give me a heart attack, my mom grumbled, but her tone was less hostile. Fine. Put him on. I want to talk to him myself. I handed the phone to Leo. He took it, his voice calm and steady. Hello, Mrs. Miller. This is Leo. Hello, my mom said, clearly not expecting him to actually be there. Her bluster faded slightly. I apologize, ma'am. We should have discussed this with you before getting the license. I was just in a hurry. I was afraid Chloe would change her mind. Leo's delivery was flawless. You're really not just messing around? Of course not. I'm very serious about Chloe, and I promise to take good care of her. My mom then launched into a full-scale interrogation about his family, his business, his future plans. Leo answered every question smoothly, without being arrogant or defensive. By the end of the call, her tone had softened considerably. All right. Since you kids made your decision, I won't say any more. We should arrange a time for our families to meet for dinner. Of course, Mrs. Miller. That's a great idea. I'll arrange it. When he hung up, we all breathed a sigh of relief. Nice acting, Maya said, giving Leo a thumbs up. You too, Leo replied with a faint smile. When he smiled, faint lines appeared at the corners of his eyes, making him look less distant. For the rest of the weekend, Leo was mostly at my apartment. He cooked, cleaned, and answered work emails. We were like strangers sharing a living space, maintaining a polite distance, yet bound together by a legal document. On Sunday afternoon, he took a call, and his face grew grim. Okay, I understand. I'm on my way. He hung up and grabbed his jacket. That was the hospital. My mom's not doing well, he told me. Should I come with you? I asked. He hesitated, then shook his head. Maybe next time. It's not the right moment. He paused. Just take care of yourself. He left in a hurry. I watched the door close behind him, a strange feeling in my chest. We were, by law, the closest of kin, yet we were more distant than strangers. That evening I got a text from him. She's stable now. Thanks. Good, I replied. Putting down my phone, I looked out at the city lights. The immediate crises, Alex's harassment, my mother's objections, had been temporarily handled. But the bigger problems loomed. The baby in my belly. This absurd marriage. And the husband I knew almost nothing about. The storm had passed for now, but I had a feeling a much bigger wave was still on its way. Monday morning, 7 a.m. My phone buzzed me awake. A text from Leo. My mom wants to meet you. Are you free for lunch today? I can pick you up. I stared at the screen, all sleepiness gone. Meeting the family already? I touched my still flat stomach, my feelings a tangled mess. Okay, I replied. The office was still a minefield of stares and whispers. I did my best to ignore them and focus on my work. Around 10 a.m., my boss's assistant called. Chloe, Mr. Henderson would like to see you in his office. My stomach dropped. Here we go. Mr. Henderson's office was at the end of the hall. He was standing by the window, his back to me, when I knocked and entered. Mr. Henderson, you wanted to see me? He turned, his face serious. Chloe, have a seat. I sat, my palms sweating. I hear you got married last Friday, he said, getting straight to the point. Yes. And the groom wasn't Alex Vance. No. He was silent for a moment, his fingers drumming on the polished desk. The company doesn't interfere in its employees' personal lives, but you're a director, Chloe. You represent the company. He paused. There are rumors that Alex stood you up and you married a stranger out of spite. I bit my lip, saying nothing. I trust you're not that reckless, he continued, looking me in the eye. But these rumors are bad for our image, especially with the Blue Sky Group account on the line. I need your assurance that your personal life will not affect your work. I promise, I said, meeting his gaze. I will give the Blue Sky pitch everything I have. My personal life won't be an issue. He nodded, his expression softening slightly. Good. You're one of my best directors. I'd hate to see your career derailed by this. He picked up a file. That's all. As I got up to leave, he added, "And Chloe, congratulations." Back at my desk, I took a deep breath and dove back into work. At 11:30 a.m., Leo's text came through. "I'm downstairs." I gathered my things and went down. His SUV was parked in its usual spot. I got in. "Nervous?" he asked, starting the car. "A little," I admitted, fastening my seatbelt. "My mom's a very kind person. Just a little chatty after being sick for so long," he said, trying to ease the tension. "Does she know the real story?" "She knows it was a whirlwind romance. I told her I fell for you at first sight and had to chase you for a long time before you agreed." "Thanks," I said, looking out the window. The hospital wasn't far. The scent of antiseptic filled the air. The hallways were quiet enough to hear our own footsteps. Leo stopped in front of a room, took a deep breath, and pushed the door open. "Mom, we're here." A frail woman was propped up against pillows in the bed. Sickness had worn her down, but you could still see the elegance she once possessed. Her eyes lit up when she saw me. "Hello," I said, stepping forward and placing the bouquet of flowers I'd bought on the nightstand. "I'm Chloe." "Call me Mom," she said, taking my hand. Her grip was surprisingly firm. Her smile was warm. "You two got married so fast. You didn't even give me a chance to prepare." I glanced at Leo. He gave a slight nod. "Mom," I said softly. "Yes, good girl. Come, sit." She held onto my hand, looking me up and down. So beautiful, even prettier than in the pictures. "Pictures?" I looked at Leo, confused. He cleared his throat. I showed Mom a picture of you before." Yes. Leo showed me your picture ages ago," his mom chirped. "Said you were a wonderful girl and he was going to marry you no matter what." She patted my hand. Now I can rest easy. Finally get to see my boy settle down. Her eyes grew misty. "Mom, you need to focus on getting better," Leo said gently. "I know this sickness won't get better," she said, wiping her eyes. "My only wish was to see Leo find a home. Now that's taken care of." She sighed. "All that's left is grandbabies." My heart skipped a beat. Leo smoothly interjected. "Mom, Chloe has to get back to work this afternoon. We should probably go grab some lunch." "Oh, yes, of course." "You two go on," she said quickly. "Chloe, dear, come over for dinner this weekend. I'll make you my specialty." "Okay. Thank you, Mom." As we left the room, we ran into the attending physician in the hallway. "Dr. Evans, how's she doing?" Leo asked. Dr. Evans adjusted his glasses. "Not great, I'm afraid. The cancer is spreading. I'd recommend starting another round of chemo as soon as possible." Leo's expression hardened. "What are the odds?" "About 30% success rate, and even if it works, it would likely only extend her life by a few months," the doctor said with clinical detachment. "Think it over and let me know." After the doctor left, Leo leaned against the wall and closed his eyes. I hesitated, then gently touched his shoulder. "She'll be okay." He opened his eyes, a flicker of vulnerability quickly masked. "Let's go eat." We ate at a small diner near the hospital in near silence. Finally, Leo broke it. "I'm sorry for dragging you into this." "I came willingly," I said, stirring my coffee. "Is your ex still bothering you?" he asked. "He called a few more times yesterday." I didn't answer. "Do you need me to handle it?" "No, I can handle it." I looked up. "Your mom's medical bills. If you need help, I have some savings." He looked surprised for a second, then shook his head. "No, I can manage. Thank you. Is your company doing okay?" I ventured. "It's a bit tight, but we'll get through it," he said briefly. Silence returned. After lunch, he drove me back to the office. Before I got out, he stopped me. "About this weekend, do you really want to come for dinner? If you're not comfortable, I can make an excuse." "I'll go," I said. "We can't disappoint her." He nodded. "Thank you." Back at the office, I noticed things on my desk had been moved. It was subtle, but I have a routine. I quietly checked my computer's login history. Someone had tried to access my account and failed. I pulled up the security footage for my office area. During the lunch break, Rick Donovan had come in. What was he after? Before leaving for the day, I got a message from Maya. "Chloe, huge news. A friend of mine saw Alex out with the intern from your office, Lauren. They looked very cozy. Attached was a blurry photo. It was definitely Alex, with a young woman at a cafe. My heart sank. Lauren was barely 20, bubbly, and had always been a little too friendly with Alex when he visited. I'd thought he just enjoyed the attention. "When was this?" I texted back. "Last Friday, the day you were supposed to get your license," Maya replied with an angry emoji. No wonder he was a no-show. He was on a date with a college kid. I gripped my phone, my knuckles turning white. When I left the building, Alex was there, blocking my path. He looked worse than before, unshaven and haggard. "Chloe, we need to talk," he said, trying to stop me. "We have nothing to talk about." I tried to walk around him. "Just 5 minutes, please," he begged, his eyes desperate. I looked around at the curious onlookers and gritted my teeth. "Over there." We moved to a quiet corner of the plaza. "Chloe, I know I messed up. Give me one more chance," he pleaded. "For the intern?" I asked coldly. His face changed. "You know? Last Friday. You weren't at City Hall because you were with her, weren't you?" He started stammering. "No, it's not what you think. We just had lunch, that's all. Nothing happened." "A 3-hour lunch? A lunch so important you forgot about getting married?" I shot back. I was stressed. "Okay?" I needed to unwind. He reached for my hand. "Chloe, I love you. Only you. That kid means nothing to me." I pulled my hand away, disgusted. "You make me sick, Alex. I'm a jerk, I know. I'm an idiot." He actually slapped his own face. "But you can't throw away 3 years of our lives over one mistake. You're carrying my child." "I'll handle the child," I said coldly. "Handle it how? Get an abortion? Or have it, and let that other guy raise it?" His voice rose. "Watch your tone." "Why should I?" He grabbed my shoulders. "That is my child. You either come back to me or you get rid of it. There is no third option." "Let her go!" A calm voice cut through the tension. Leo was standing there, his face a thundercloud. "Who the hell are you?" Alex snarled. "Her husband," Leo said flatly, pulling Alex's hands off me. "This is America. Assault is a crime." Alex rubbed his wrists, glaring at Leo. "So you're the guy who picked up my leftovers. You know she's pregnant with my kid, right?" "I know." Leo's voice was steady. "And you still married her? What's in it for you? You like playing daddy to another man's kid?" Alex sneered. Leo took a step forward. He was slightly shorter than Alex, but his presence was far more intimidating. "First, who I marry is none of your business. Second, if you harass my wife again, I will call the police. And third," he lowered his voice, "I know your company is trying to land a deal with Blue Sky Group. Funnily enough, I'm good friends with their VP of acquisitions. If I see you near Chloe again, I can't guarantee that deal will go through." The color drained from Alex's face. How did you know that?" "Get lost," was all Leo said. Alex looked from Leo to me, and back again. Finally, he stalked off, muttering curses. On the drive home, we were silent. It wasn't until we were parked in my building's garage that Leo spoke. "Does he harass you like this often?" "First time he's cornered me at work," I said. "From now on, I'll pick you up after work." "You don't have to." "It's not a problem," he cut me off. "Safety first." I nodded. "Thanks. Don't mention it." He parked the car. "How did you know about his company's business?" I couldn't help but ask. He smiled, a genuine, slightly roguish smile for the first time. I guessed. A guy like that, his career is all he cares about. "You bluffed? It worked, didn't it?" He unbuckled his seatbelt. "Let's go up." That night, lying in bed, I replayed the day's events. Leo's mother's hopeful eyes, Alex's shameless lies, and Leo's quiet declaration, "My wife." This marriage was a farce, but for a moment, it had felt like a shield. My phone lit up. A text from Leo. "We should probably get our stories straight for when you meet my mom this weekend. How we met, who pursued whom, that sort of thing." I thought for a moment and typed back, "Okay, you write the script. I'll play my part." A few minutes later, a long text arrived. It was a detailed, surprisingly romantic story of our courtship. It was seamless. "You have a talent for fiction," I replied. "In business, you have to be good at everything," came the quick response. "Thank you for today," I texted. "Of course," he replied instantly. "Good night." Good night. On Wednesday morning, I was called into a meeting as soon as I arrived. In the conference room were Mr. Henderson, Rick, and a few other senior managers. The mood was grim. Chloe, we have a serious problem, Mr. Henderson said. Our pitch for Blue Sky Group, the core creative, has been leaked. My blood ran cold. What do you mean? Our competitor, Starbright Solutions, released their new campaign concept this morning. It's almost identical to ours. Mr. Henderson slid a tablet across the table. It was true. Starbright's pitch was a carbon copy of the strategy we'd been developing for weeks. That's impossible. That project was completely confidential. That's the problem, Mr. Henderson said, his eyes on me. The company is launching an internal investigation. Until it's concluded, you are suspended from your duties. I felt like I'd been plunged into ice water. You suspect me? You were the project lead. You had the highest level of access, Rick chimed in. And I heard you've been having some financial troubles lately. A shotgun wedding can't be cheap. I whipped my head around to stare at him. What was he implying? What are you trying to say, Rick? I asked, my voice dangerously low. Just exploring all possibilities, he said with a shrug. Enough, Mr. Henderson cut in. Chloe, we're not trying to be unfair. Hand over your work to Rick for now. You'll be on paid leave while we investigate. His voice softened. If you're innocent, the company will clear your name. I looked at him, then at Rick's smug face, and suddenly I understood. Fine, I'll cooperate, I said, standing up, holding on to the last of my dignity. I trust the company will find the truth quickly. I left the meeting and went straight to HR to sign the suspension paperwork. The stares of my colleagues felt like physical blows. Back at my desk, as I was packing my personal items into a box, Rick sauntered over. You know, Chloe, he whispered, if you just confess, they might go easy on you. I looked up at him. What goes around comes around, Rick. His expression flickered. Then he sneered. We'll see about that. I picked up my box and walked out without looking back. Downstairs, on the street, I called Leo. When he answered, I didn't know what to say. What's wrong? He asked, sensing my distress immediately. I've been suspended. I quickly explained what happened. Where are you? I'll come get you. Half an hour later, I was in his car, my hands shaking as I tried to buckle my seatbelt. Let's go home and you can rest. I'll make some calls. See what I can find out, he said calmly. Do you believe me? That I didn't leak anything? I asked, looking at him. You don't seem like the type, he said, starting the car. Besides, if you really needed money, you could have just asked me. It would be a lot less risky. I stared at him, a warmth spreading through my chest. The man I'd dated for 3 years probably wouldn't have believed me. This stranger I'd known for less than a week did. Without question. Back at my apartment, I lay on the couch, overwhelmed by exhaustion. The familiar cramping in my abdomen returned, sharper and more intense than ever before. I curled into a ball, clutching my stomach. What is it? Leo asked, noticing my pained expression. My stomach. It really hurts, I gasped, a cold sweat breaking out on my forehead. His face went pale. I'm taking you to the hospital. At the emergency room, after a series of tests, the doctor came back with a grave look on her face. It's a threatened miscarriage. You need to be admitted for observation, she said sternly. You've been under extreme stress and your emotional state is volatile. It's very dangerous for the fetus. I lay in the hospital bed, an IV drip in my arm, while Leo handled the admission paperwork. The sky outside was a bleak gray, a perfect match for my mood. My job was gone, my baby was at risk, and my marriage was a lie. How had my life gone so wrong? When Leo returned, he saw the tear tracks on my face. He was quiet for a moment. I just had a friend do some digging, he said, handing me a cup of warm water. The project lead at Starbright Solutions is Rick Donovan's old college roommate, and Rick met with someone from Starbright last week. My eyes widened. You mean, it's just a theory, no proof, he said, sitting by the bed. But if he leaked the files and framed you, he must have left a trail. But why? I never did anything to him. You were in his way, Leo reasoned. Henderson is looking to promote a new VP. You and Rick were the top 2 candidates. I was stunned. I hadn't even known about the promotion. Just rest for now. The baby is what's important, he said, tucking the blanket around me. I'll figure out the work stuff. Why are you helping me so much? I asked. He was silent for a moment. We're in the same boat now. Helping you is helping myself. It was a practical reason. But underneath it, I heard a note of something else. Something that sounded like kindness. I was in the hospital for 3 days. Maya came to visit, bringing a USB drive. I got a friend to pull the security logs from the office, she whispered. Guess what I found? Not only did Rick go through your desk, he plugged a flash drive into your computer. My heart pounded. Is there proof? The camera caught him plugging it in, but you can't see what he copied, Maya said. But my friend, the hacker one, says he might be able to recover your computer's deleted activity logs. Just then, the door opened. Leo walked in, his face drawn and pale. I just got a call, he said, his voice hoarse. My mom. She's taken a turn for the worse. They've moved her to the ICU. My heart clenched. Is it serious? The doctor said to prepare for the worst. He leaned against the wall and slowly slid to the floor. She wants to see you one last time. I pulled the IV needle from my arm and struggled to get out of bed. What are you doing? Maya cried out. I'm going to see her, I said, fighting a wave of dizziness. But the doctor said you can't move. It's okay. I held onto the bed rail to steady myself. She's my mother-in-law. Legally. Leo looked up at me, his eyes filled with a complex mix of emotions. In the ICU, we stood outside the glass, looking at his mother, hooked up to a dozen machines. She was unconscious, her breathing shallow. They say it could be any day now, Leo whispered. I took his hand. It was ice cold and trembling. She should think you're happy, I said. What? She should believe the story. That we're happy. I looked at him. In her last moments, letting her see her son settled and in love is better than her knowing the truth, right? He squeezed my hand, hard. That night, his mother regained consciousness for a short while. We scrubbed in and went into her room. She couldn't speak, but she looked at us, her eyes filled with peace. Her gaze drifted down to my stomach, a look of hopeful longing on her face. A pang of guilt and sorrow shot through me. After we left the room, Leo said, Thank you. Don't thank me, I said, staring out at the dark sky. To be honest, I'm a little jealous of you. Jealous of what? At least your mom truly loves you. All she wants is for you to be happy, I said softly. My mom. She's more concerned with appearances. He was quiet for a moment. When your mom truly accepts us, things will get better. Us. The word sounded so natural, as if we were a real couple. The next day, Leo's mother passed away peacefully in her sleep. Leo was consumed with funeral arrangements. I was forced by the doctors to remain in the hospital to protect the pregnancy. Maya continued to dig into Rick's dealings, but it was slow going. Alex sent a few more apologetic texts, which I deleted without reading. A week later, I was discharged. Leo, having handled the funeral, looked thinner and worn out, but he was calm. This was my mother's, he said, handing me a beautiful jade bracelet. It's the Sterling family heirloom, for the woman who marries into the family. She wanted to give it to you at our wedding, but I took the bracelet, my heart heavy. And this. He produced a document. Her will. She left us the old family house. That's too much. I can't accept it, I said, trying to give it back. Please, take it. It was her wish, he insisted. Besides, we're husband and wife. It's legally community property. Husband and wife. There was that phrase again. That weekend, we went to clear out his mother's house. In an old photo album, I found pictures of Leo as a child, and several with a pretty, smiling girl. Jessica? I asked. He nodded, closing the album. That was a long time ago. In the back of a drawer, I found an envelope addressed to Leo and Chloe. Inside were 2 letters, one for him, one for me. My letter read, Chloe, my dear daughter-in-law. By the time you read this, I'll likely be gone. Don't be sad. I was sick for a long time, and this is a release. My biggest worry in life was always Leo. His father died young, and I raised him alone. I was so proud to see him build his business, and all I wanted was for him to find a family. Now that he has you, I am truly happy. Leo can be stubborn, and he keeps things bottled up. Please be patient with him. Take care of each other, live well, and give me a grandchild to smile about from heaven. Love, Mom. I finished the letter with tears streaming down my face. Even though she knew our marriage was a fiction, this kind woman had offered me her genuine heart. That night, back at my place, Leo handed me a box. For you. Inside was a new phone, Your old one might be compromised. This one is secure, he said. How did you know? I asked, surprised. A guy like Rick, if he's willing to frame you, he's willing to use dirtier tricks, he said calmly. I had a friend look into it. He's been in contact with a private investigator. A chill went down my spine. And he hesitated. I found a secret bank account of his. A large sum of money was deposited into it recently from an offshore account. Can you prove he leaked the files? Not yet, but it's a start. He looked me in the eye, his expression serious. Chloe, I want to make you a deal. What deal? You helped me with my family. Now, I'll help you with your job, he said. When this is all over, if you still want a divorce, I will respect your decision. And if I don't? I whispered. He was taken aback for a second, then a faint smile touched his lips. Then we'll keep going. Just then, my new phone rang. It was Maya. Chloe, I've got it, she said, her voice electric with excitement. My friend recovered Rick's deleted computer logs. We have proof he leaked the files. She took a breath. And guess who was pulling the strings behind him? Who? Alex. I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. Alex promised Rick a VP position at his company if he helped, Maya said, her voice shaking with rage. They were in it together. They didn't just want to ruin your career, they planned to take over the Blue Sky account after our company was discredited. I gripped the phone, my knuckles white. Leo watched me, his expression grim. And there's more, Maya continued. It sounds like they were planning something else. Alex let something slip to a mutual friend, something about how, if I can't have her, I'll destroy her. At that exact moment, there was a frantic pounding on the door. A familiar voice, slurred with alcohol, yelled from the hallway. Chloe, I know you're in there, open the door. It was Alex. If you don't open this door, I'll tell the whole building what kind of person you are. I looked at Leo, a terrible premonition washing over me. What else was Alex hiding? What did he mean by destroy? The pounding grew heavier, Alex's shouts echoing down the hall. I looked at Leo. He motioned for me to stay quiet, then walked to the door. Looking through the peephole, I saw Alex swaying, a bottle of whiskey in his hand. Chloe, open up, he bellowed. If you don't, I'll tell everyone about the dirty little things you did at the office to get ahead. Leo quietly unlocked the deadbolt and yanked the door open. Alex, who had been leaning against it, stumbled into the apartment. You, he stammered, seeing Leo. Get out, Leo said, blocking his path, his voice like ice. This is my ex's place. Who are you to tell me to get out? Alex slurred, trying to steady himself. He pointed a shaking finger at me. Chloe, come out here. We're not finished. We finished a long time ago, I said, stepping out from behind Leo. Legally, I'm Leo's wife. If you don't leave now, I'm calling the police. The police? Alex let out a wild laugh. Go ahead, let's see what the cops have to say about a woman who gets pregnant with my child and then marries another man. Let's see who they side with. He waved the bottle, splashing whiskey on the floor. Alex, you're drunk, I said, trying to stay calm. I'm not drunk. I'm perfectly clear, he yelled. Clear enough to remember colluding with Rick Donovan to leak company secrets and frame me? I asked, staring him down. Alex froze, the drunken haze seeming to evaporate from his eyes. What are you talking about? I'm talking about you paying Rick to steal my proposal, sell it to a competitor, and then pin the blame on me, I said, enunciating every word. The company is investigating. Once they have proof, you and Rick are both going to jail. The color drained from Alex's face. He dropped the bottle, which shattered on the floor. How do you know? He stammered, taking a step back. You can't hide things forever, Leo said, taking a step forward. For every step Leo took, Alex took one back. Alex, if you leave now, you might have a chance, but if you wait for the police to come knocking, it'll be too late. Alex looked from me to Leo, and his bravado crumbled. He collapsed onto the floor. I didn't want to do this, he sobbed, holding his head. My company. It's going under. I'm drowning in debt. He looked up at me, tears streaming down his face. Chloe, I was desperate, Rick said. If we could just get the Blue Sky contract, it would save the company. So you sold me out, I said, feeling nothing but cold disgust. It was Rick's idea, he pleaded. He said if he could get you fired, he'd get the promotion, and then he could steer the contract to me. And you agreed. I didn't have a choice, he wailed, grabbing at my pant leg. Chloe, for the sake of our 3 years together, please, let this go. I was wrong. I was so wrong. I looked at his pathetic form. Any love I once had was gone, replaced by pure revulsion. Get up, Alex, I said. Face the consequences like a man. He just stared at me blankly. Leo had already picked up his phone. Are you walking out of here on your own, or should I call 911? Alex slowly got to his feet, his expression shifting from pleading to pure hatred. You're a cold one, Chloe, he spat. But don't think you've won. This isn't over. He stumbled to the door. You're going to regret this. The door slammed shut. The apartment was suddenly silent. I looked at the broken glass and spilled whiskey on the floor and felt a wave of dizziness. Leo steadied me. Sit down. He led me to the couch and went to get me some water. What did he mean? This isn't over, I asked. He's just bluffing, Leo said, handing me the glass. But we should still be careful. He started cleaning up the mess. I watched his back, a surreal feeling washing over me. This man, a stranger just a few weeks ago, was now my protector. Leo, I said. He turned. Yeah? Thank you. Don't mention it, he said, continuing to clean. We're on the same team now. The next day, Maya came over first thing in the morning with more information. My friend hacked into Rick's personal email last night. Look at this. She handed me her tablet. On the screen was an email from Alex to Rick, sent the day before my suspension. The message was short. Got the files. Payment sent. Proceed as planned. Make sure she can't recover. Attached was an encrypted file. Can you decrypt it? I asked. My friend is trying, but it'll take time, Maya said. But more importantly, I looked into Alex's company finances. She pulled up another file. He's been in trouble for 6 months. He owes the bank over $300,000, not to mention what he owes suppliers. So he was desperate, Leo concluded, but the Blue Sky contract isn't big enough to cover a hole that deep. So he had another plan, I reasoned. What could Rick give him? Resources? A position? Maya guessed. Or, Leo said suddenly, he never planned to pay anyone back. We both looked at him. What do you mean? I had someone trace Alex's recent financial activity, Leo said, pulling out his phone. Last week he wired $50,000 to an offshore shell corporation. Money laundering? Maya gasped. Or getting ready to flee the country, Leo said, looking at us. If that's the case, framing Chloe wasn't just about the contract. My blood ran cold. He wanted to make me the scapegoat, to buy himself time. It's very likely, Leo nodded. He could liquidate his assets and disappear, leaving you to take the fall. That son of a bitch! Maya slammed her hand on the table. We have to get concrete proof before he runs, I said. Rick is the weak link, Maya mused, but he's careful. I have an idea, Leo said. He pulled out another phone. This is a burner phone Alex and Rick were using to communicate. A friend of mine got me the number. I stared at him. How? You pick up a few contacts in business, he said with a shrug. Now, we just need to set a trap. 3 days later, Leo's company hosted a small networking event. Among the guests were the VP from Blue Sky Group and a few people from Starbright Solutions. Rick, representing my company, was also invited, an arrangement Leo had made. Rick will come because he wants to schmooze the Blue Sky VP, Leo explained before the event. And Alex will come because I invited him under the pretense of a potential partnership. When they meet, they might talk. I understood. We needed to record them. He handed me a tiny recording device disguised as a lapel pin. You keep Rick busy. I'll have someone get close to Alex. At 7 p.m., the event began. I stood by the door with Leo, wearing a dress he'd bought for me. It was the first time we'd appeared in public as a couple. Rick was one of the first to arrive. He saw me and did a double take. Chloe? What are you doing here? He asked, feigning surprise. I'm with my husband, I said, linking my arm through Leo's. Leo smiled and extended his hand. Rick Donovan. It's a pleasure. I'm Leo Sterling, Chloe's husband. Rick's face was a picture of shock. He shook Leo's hand limply. So, you're Mr. Sterling. I had no idea. I hear you're handling the Blue Sky account now. Congratulations, Leo said smoothly. Oh well, it's just temporary, Rick said, his eyes shifting nervously. I was so sorry to hear what happened with Chloe. I'm sure the company will clear her name. I'm sure they will, I said calmly. Leo deftly changed the subject, steering Rick inside. He's nervous, Leo whispered to me. Alex showed up half an hour later. He looked exhausted and defeated. When he saw me, his expression was a mix of anger and something else. Regret? Chloe, he started. Mr. Vance, welcome, Leo cut him off. Please, come in. Alex looked from me to Leo, then lowered his head and walked inside. Halfway through the party, I approached Rick as planned. He was talking to the Blue Sky VP and tensed up when he saw me. Rick, can I have a word? I asked. He hesitated, then excused himself and followed me out to the balcony. What is it, Chloe? He asked, his tone guarded. Let's drop the act, Rick, I said, looking him in the eye. What did Alex promise you for helping him frame me? The color drained from his face. I don't know what you're talking about. Alex's company is bankrupt. He can't give you money, and he can't give you a job. It's all empty promises. You're talking nonsense, he said, his voice rising. I have proof, I bluffed. Alex already confessed everything to me. That's impossible, he blurted out, then immediately realized his mistake. His face crumpled. He's lying. I didn't do anything. Didn't do what? I pressed. He clammed up, his eyes darting around frantically. Rick, it's not too late to come clean, I said. Go to the company. Tell them everything. You might get some leniency. Once the police get involved, it's all over. He just stood there, gritting his teeth. Did you know Alex is planning to flee the country? I dropped the bombshell. His head snapped up. What? He wired money offshore last week. He's selling off his assets, I said. When he's gone, you'll be the only one left to take the fall. Sweat beaded on Rick's forehead. How do I know you're telling the truth? Check for yourself, I said. With your connections, it shouldn't be hard to look into his finances. He was silent. In the distance, I saw Leo give me a subtle signal. The plan was working. After the party, in the car, we reviewed the night. Did you get the recording? I asked. We got it, Leo said. Rick and Alex met in the restroom. The audio is faint, but you can hear the important parts. What did they say? Alex told Rick to hang tight, promised he'd take him with him when he left the country, Leo said with a sneer. But Rick's not an idiot. He demanded to see some money first. Dogs fighting over a bone, I said. What now? Now we wait, Leo said, starting the car. Rick will investigate Alex's finances. When he finds out Alex really is planning to skip town, he'll panic. He'll either come to us, or he'll go to the company to save his own skin. Sure enough, 2 days later, Rick called me. Chloe, can we meet? His voice was hoarse. Where? The coffee shop downstairs from the office, he said. Come alone. I looked at Leo. He nodded. Okay. Rick looked like he hadn't slept in days. His eyes were shadowed, and he hadn't shaved. Chloe, sit. He'd already ordered a latte for me. Have you made up your mind, Rick? I asked. He laced his fingers together, his knuckles white. Alex is really running. You checked. I did, he said with a bitter laugh. His condo is on the market. His company filed for bankruptcy. He looked up at me. He promised me $1 million and a stake in an overseas venture. Empty promises, I said. I know that now, he said, his head sinking. I was desperate. Why? I asked. You were a director. You had a great career ahead of you. Why risk it all? He was silent for a long time. My daughter, he finally said, his voice trembling. She has a congenital heart defect. She needs a special surgery in Switzerland. It costs over $200,000. I couldn't get a loan. Alex said if I did this one thing for him, he'd pay for the whole thing. I was stunned. I never would have guessed. So you agreed. I didn't have a choice, he said, his eyes filling with tears. She's only 5 years old. I couldn't just watch her. He choked on his words. My feelings were a complicated mess of pity and anger. What are you going to do now? I asked. I'll confess, he said, wiping his eyes. I'll tell the company everything. I'll take whatever punishment they give me, but please, don't call the police. Why not? I can't go to jail, he pleaded. My daughter needs me. My wife's health isn't good either. Did you think about my situation when you were framing me, Rick? I asked. He looked down. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't fix anything, I said. You have 2 choices. Confess to the company, cooperate with the investigation, and hope for leniency. or wait for the police to arrest you. The first one, he said immediately. But I have one condition. What is it? Please, don't tell anyone about my daughter, he begged. My wife doesn't know what I did. She thinks I borrowed the money for the surgery. I looked at him, this once arrogant man, now utterly broken. Pathetic, but also pitiable. I can agree to that, I said, but you have to give me everything you have on Alex. I have it, he said eagerly. Our text messages, the wire transfer receipts, even backups of files he told me to destroy. I saved everything. Why? I asked. Insurance, he said with a grim smile. In our line of work, you always keep an ace up your sleeve. That afternoon, Rick submitted his confession to the company. Mr. Henderson called an emergency meeting. I was there. Rick stood before the board and admitted everything, providing a mountain of evidence that proved Alex had orchestrated the entire plot. Mr. Henderson's face was stone. I am profoundly disappointed in you, Rick. I'm sorry, sir, Rick said, bowing his head. Sorry? Mr. Henderson scoffed. This is a criminal offense. The company will be turning this matter over to the police. Rick's face went white, but he didn't argue. After the meeting, Mr. Henderson asked me to stay behind. Chloe, the company was wrong about you, he said. You can come back tomorrow. The Blue Sky account is yours again. Thank you, Mr. Henderson. And, as a gesture of apology, the company would like to double your quarterly bonus. That's not necessary. I shook my head. All I wanted was to clear my name. He looked at me with a complex expression. You've changed, Chloe. People do, I said. Leaving the office, I called Leo. It's over, Rick confessed. I get my job back tomorrow. That's great news, he said. What about Alex? The police are involved now. He's not getting away. What about Rick's daughter? I asked. That's his problem to solve, Leo said calmly. Adults have to live with their choices. I know, I sighed. It's just, life is hard. That's why we have to live it well, he said. That evening, we sat down to a celebratory dinner at my place. Leo had cooked an elaborate meal. A toast, he said, raising his glass of juice. To what? To your name being cleared. We clinked glasses. And to a successful partnership? I added. He smiled. To a successful partnership. Later, as we were washing dishes together, he suddenly said, Chloe, have you thought about the baby's future? My hands paused under the running water. Why do you ask? I was just thinking, if the baby is born, He didn't finish, but I knew what he meant. We were legally married. The child would legally be his. I still haven't decided if I'm keeping it, I said softly. The doctor said I need to make a decision soon. So you're still thinking about it? I don't know, I said, drying my hands. Keeping him means, what? Bringing him into a loveless home? Or we could try to give him a home filled with love, Leo said. I looked at him, his expression completely serious. I mean it, he said. We could try. To be a real couple. I was stunned. Why? Not to fulfill a promise, not as a transaction, just to try. I stared at him. Because you're stronger than I ever expected, he said. Because my mom liked you. Because... He paused. Because I think we could work. My heart started to beat faster. This is really sudden. I know, he said. You can think about it. No rush. I couldn't sleep that night. Leo's words echoed in my mind. Try to be a real couple. Was it possible? Two people, burned by love, thrown together by a ridiculous marriage. Could we actually build something real? And the baby, if I kept him, what kind of life would he have? And if I didn't? I touched my belly, which was now just starting to show a tiny curve. The next day, I went back to work. The way my colleagues looked at me had changed completely from suspicion and pity to awe and apology. Rick's office was empty. I heard he'd been arrested. Alex's company officially declared bankruptcy, and he was under investigation, his passport confiscated. At lunch, Mr. Henderson called me into his office. Chloe, I have some news. Blue Sky Group has officially awarded us the contract. Really? I gasped. But on one condition, he said, looking at me. They've specifically requested that you lead the project, and they want you to fly to their headquarters for the final presentation in 1 month. 1 month. I did the math. I'd be 4 months pregnant then. My stomach would be more noticeable. Is that a problem? Mr. Henderson asked. No, I shook my head. I'll get it done. Good. He nodded, satisfied. Keep this up, and that VP spot is yours. After work, I had a follow-up appointment at the hospital. The doctor looked over my chart with a serious expression. The fetus is developing normally, but you're not in great shape, she said. You're stressed, you're not eating well. This isn't good for the baby. I'll be more careful, I promised. And about your decision, you need to make it soon, she said, looking at me. If you're going to terminate, it should be within the next 2 weeks. After that, the risks increase significantly. I understand, I said. Leaving the hospital, I called Leo. The doctor gave me 2 weeks to decide. What are you thinking? He asked. I don't know, I said honestly. I want to keep him, but I'm afraid I can't give him a good life. A life is something we can build together, he said. Chloe, I'm not kidding. If you're willing, we can raise this child together. Even though he's not yours? Legally he is, he said. And that's enough. That night, Leo took me to a movie, a light-hearted comedy. We sat in the dark theater with a large popcorn between us, like a normal couple on a date. Halfway through the movie, he gently took my hand. I didn't pull away. Afterward, we walked along the river. The evening breeze was cool and refreshing. Chloe, he said. Yeah? If we really did this, what kind of life would you want? I thought about it. Quiet, stable, full of mutual respect. And trust, I said. No lies, no betrayals. That's not asking for much, he said. But it's hard to find, I said with a sad smile. We could try, he said again. This time, I looked him in the eyes. Leo, are you sure? This isn't out of pity or because of the promise you made to your mom? You really want to be with me? He was quiet for a moment. At first, yes, it was pity. And it was for my mom, he admitted. But not anymore. He stopped walking and faced me. Chloe, I admire your strength, your intelligence. I admire that you've seen the worst in people but still managed to be kind. His gaze was intense. I want to be with you. Not as a compromise, not as a convenience. For real. The wind blew my hair across my face. The city lights glittered on the river's surface. Okay, I heard myself say. Let's try. He smiled. A real, genuine, happy smile. And in that moment, I thought, maybe this ridiculous marriage wasn't a mistake. Maybe it was a beginning. A terrible, messy beginning, but one that could lead to something good. But life has a way of kicking you when you think things are finally looking up. 3 nights later, Leo got a phone call. The color drained from his face. I'll be right there. He hung up and grabbed his jacket. What is it? I asked. Trouble at the company, he said, his face grim. Someone reported me for tax fraud. The IRS is there right now, going through my books. How is that possible? I stood up. I don't know. He rushed out the door. Go to sleep. I'll handle this. He didn't come back. At midnight, I called him. No answer. A feeling of dread crept over me. At 1 a.m., the doorbell rang. I ran to open it. 2 police officers stood on my doorstep. Ma'am, are you Chloe Miller? One of them asked. Yes. It's about your husband, Leo Sterling. He's been taken into custody for questioning regarding an ongoing investigation into wire fraud and tax evasion. He handed me a notice. This is the official documentation. Please sign here. I took the paper, my hand shaking. Where is he? At the federal building downtown, the other officer said. No visitations are allowed at this time. Please wait for further notice. They left. I closed the door and slid down to the floor, my back against it. The paper fluttered from my hand. In black and white, it detailed the allegations. Leo's company was suspected of creating fraudulent transactions to obtain bank loans. The amount was substantial. If convicted, he could face more than 10 years in prison. I looked around the empty apartment. Just hours ago, I'd felt a glimmer of hope. Now, I was back in the abyss. My phone rang. An unknown number. I answered. On the other end was Alex's manic laughter. Chloe, I told you you'd regret this. You think you won? I'm telling you, this is just the beginning. This was you, I whispered. I'm the one who tipped them off, he crowed. If I'm going down, you're not getting your happy ending either. What did Leo ever do to you? I felt a surge of rage. Nothing, he said, his voice turning venomous. But he helped you, and for that, he has to pay. The line went dead. I clutched the phone, a bone-deep chill spreading through me. Alex's revenge had come so swiftly, so viciously. What now? Leo was arrested. His company was being investigated, and I was 4 months pregnant, just got my job back, and was facing a massive project, and now I had to figure out how to save him. My phone rang again. It was Maya. "Chloe, it's bad," she said, her voice frantic. "I just heard from a source. The case against Leo's company is serious. There's a discrepancy of several $1,000,000. How? The rumor is that he embezzled company funds to pay for his mother's medical treatments, then cooked the books to cover it up." Maya's words were like a hammer blow to my chest. "The evidence is apparently solid. It's going to be very hard to fight." I leaned against the door and closed my eyes. "Leo, how much more were you hiding from me? Our try hasn't even started, and is it already over?" The phone slipped from my hand and clattered to the floor. Maya's voice was a faint buzz from the earpiece. "Chloe? Are you still there?" I bent down and picked it up, my fingers numb. "I'm here," I said, my voice so hoarse it didn't sound like my own. "What are we going to do?" Maya asked. "I don't know," I whispered, looking at the empty living room where Leo had cooked dinner just a few hours ago. Now he was in a holding cell, facing federal charges. I forced myself to take a deep breath, clutching my belly. "I can't fall apart. Not now. I'm here," I repeated, my voice raw. "Okay, don't panic," Maya said, her own voice steadying. "My dad knows a few people in the legal world. I'll have him ask around." "Thanks," I whispered. "I'll call you back." I sat on the cold floor, leaning against the sofa. A tight, painful knot formed in my stomach. I took slow, deep breaths. "Stay calm. Panicking won't help." At 3 a.m., Maya called back. "I have some info," she said. "It's complicated. Leo's company does have some serious tax irregularities, but the evidence for fraud isn't a slam dunk." "What does that mean?" "It means he probably did move money around, but it might not meet the legal definition of fraud," Maya explained. "The key is to find out where the money went." "His mother's treatment. It was incredibly expensive," I said. "Exactly. That's our angle," Maya said. "If we can prove the money was used for medical bills, it could mitigate the charges." "How do we prove it?" "Hospital records, bank transfers, anything that traces the money." She paused. "I'll come over in the morning. We'll figure this out together." By sunrise, I hadn't slept. My eyes burned. I splashed cold water on my face and looked in the mirror. I was pale, with dark circles under my eyes. My belly was a small, distinct curve now. 4 months. The baby was growing, oblivious to the chaos. Maya arrived at 9 a.m. with breakfast. "Eat something," she insisted, pushing a bagel and coffee towards me. "I'm not hungry." "You have to eat," she said, breaking off a piece and handing it to me. "You're eating for 2. I forced myself to take a bite. It tasted like cardboard. "I looked up Leo's company," Maya said, opening her laptop. "It's called Sterling Tech Solutions, software development, founded 3 years ago. It was doing well, but cash flow problems started last year, right around the time his mom was diagnosed. So he did use company funds for her treatment." "It's more than that," Maya said, her face grim. "I had a friend in hospital administration pull the records. His mom's treatment cost, conservatively, over $500,000. "So much? Targeted therapy, immunotherapy? Those imported drugs aren't covered by insurance," Maya sighed. "But even that shouldn't have sunk the company. There has to be more to the story." She looked at me. "We need to get into his office." Leo's office was on the 16th floor of a downtown building. When we arrived, the entrance was sealed with police tape. Inside, the office was dark and empty, papers scattered on desks. "We can't get in," Maya said. "Maybe we can," I said, spotting a janitor down the hall. "Excuse me," I said, approaching her. "Do you know what happened to the people from this company?" "Got arrested, I think," she said, shaking her head. "Cops came yesterday, took the boss away. Everyone else just left." "Do you know where they keep a spare key?" "Building management has one, but you can't go in now. It's a crime scene." I thanked her and pulled Maya into the stairwell. "Now what?" Maya asked. I thought for a moment, then took out my phone and called the number for Leo's assistant. It rang for a long time before a wary young man's voice answered. "Hello? Hi, this is Chloe Miller, Leo Sterling's wife." There was a silence. "Mrs. Sterling, the company is—" "I know," I cut him off. I just need to ask you something. Did Leo ever keep important files somewhere outside the main server? The assistant hesitated. Mr. Sterling told me, if anything ever happened, I was to give you a USB drive. It's in a safe in the break room. The combination is his mother's birthday. But the office is sealed. The safe is in a hidden compartment, he whispered. The police might have missed it. I can tell you how to get in. Half an hour later, we were in the building's service corridors. A ventilation shaft led to the ceiling of the break room. Maya boosted me up. It was a clumsy, difficult climb with my belly, but I was running on pure adrenaline. The break room was a mess. The safe was exactly where the assistant said it would be, hidden behind a bookcase. I punched in Leo's mother's birthday. The door clicked open. Inside was a USB drive, several ledgers, and a thick stack of medical receipts. Back at my apartment, we plugged in the drive. It contained the company's complete financial records and a password-protected folder labeled Personal. After a few guesses, I tried his mom's name. It opened. Inside was a single document. Leo's journal. It started 3 years ago, chronicling his struggles starting the business, his despair over his mother's illness, and the truth behind the company's downfall. The 12th of May 2023, Mom was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. Doctors say 6 months, unless we try the new imported drugs. The 3rd of June 2023. The medicine is insanely expensive. $50,000 a treatment. The company is just getting off the ground. We don't have that kind of cash. The 15th of July 2023. My uncle introduced me to an investor. He's willing to put in $1 million, but the terms are predatory. The 2nd of August 2023. Signed the deal. Looking back, the terms are terrible, but I had no choice. The 10th of September 2023. Mom's condition is stable. The money is disappearing like water. The 25th of October 2023. The investor is demanding an early dividend payment. The company's cash flow is about to snap. The 30th of November 2023. I had to cook the books. I know it's a crime, but it was the only way. The 5th of January 2024. Mom wants to see me married. I tried a few dating sites. They all run when they hear about her illness. The 17th of January 2024, met Chloe at City Hall. 2 lost souls. We got married. The 20th of January 2024, she's pregnant with her ex's child. She says she'll handle it. The 25th of January 2024, Mom passed away. She was peaceful. She thought I'd found happiness. The 3rd of February 2024, I want to try with Chloe. Maybe we can have a real family. The journal ended there. My hands were shaking. Who was the investor? Maya asked. I scanned the ledgers and found the name, New Horizons Capital. This company. Maya did a quick search. The CEO is a man named Daniel Vance. Vance. My heart stopped. Any relation to Alex? Maya made a call. A few minutes later she came back, her face pale. Daniel Vance is Alex's uncle. I gasped. So it was a setup. From the very beginning. It looks that way, Maya said. Alex knew Leo was desperate. He had his uncle set a trap, a predatory loan that forced Leo to commit fraud. Then he reported him. But why? I couldn't understand the depth of his malice. Just to get back at me? It's more than that, Maya said. Leo's company was struggling, but its software patents are extremely valuable. If Leo goes to prison and the company goes bankrupt, those patents can be bought for pennies on the dollar. The calculation was monstrously cruel. What do we do now? I asked. Can this evidence save him? He still committed fraud, Maya said, shaking her head. But proving he was entrapped could lead to a much lighter sentence. And all these medical bills prove the money went to his mom, not into his pocket. That afternoon, we met with a lawyer, a man named Mr. Davies, recommended by Maya's father. He reviewed the material, his brow furrowed. This is not good, he said bluntly. The fraud and embezzlement are well documented. Even if he was entrapped, he still committed the acts. What's the maximum sentence? I asked. If they convict him on wire fraud for that amount, 10 years, minimum, Mr. Davies said. But if we can get it reduced to embezzlement, it could be less than 3. What's the difference? Intent, he said. Fraud requires intent to illegally possess. Embezzlement is misappropriating funds you have legal access to. His motive, saving his mother, argues against the intent for personal gain. He did it to save his mother's life, I said urgently. Mr. Davies nodded. That's our defense. We argue embezzlement under duress, with entrapment as a mitigating factor. If we're lucky, we could get it down to 3 years, maybe even get probation. How much will this cost? I asked. My retainer is $50,000, he said. If it goes to a full trial, it will be more. I fell silent. My savings were limited, and I had a baby on the way. I can help, Maya said. No, I shook my head. I'll figure it out. Leaving the lawyer's office, I called my boss, Mr. Henderson. Sir, I need to ask for a 1-year salary advance. There was a long pause. Why? I explained the situation briefly. Another long silence. Chloe, are you sure about this? He asked. You've only known this man for a few weeks. Is he worth it? He is, I said. He made a mistake trying to save his mother's life, and he's my husband. Mr. Henderson sighed. Come to the office tomorrow. We'll sort out the paperwork. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me, he said. Just make sure you deliver on the Blue Sky account. The salary advance, combined with my savings, was enough for the retainer. Mr. Davies officially took the case. 3 days later, I was allowed to visit Leo. In the visitor's room at the detention center, he wore a standard-issue jumpsuit. His hair was cut short, and he looked exhausted, but his eyes were clear. Chloe, he said through the glass partition. I picked up the receiver. Are you okay? I'm fine, he said with a weak smile. I'm so sorry I dragged you into this. Don't say that, I said. I know everything. About Alex and his uncle? His eyes clouded over. You found out. Why didn't you tell me? What good would it have done? He said with a bitter laugh. You had enough on your plate. I didn't want to add to it. We're married, I said. Married people face things together. He looked at me, his eyes welling up. Chloe, don't. I cut him off. The lawyer is working on it. We're going to win this. Lawyers are expensive, he said. I paid him, I said calmly. He stared at me. Where did you get the money? Salary advance. My savings, I said. I'll earn it back before the baby comes. He lowered his head, his shoulders shaking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Look at me, I said. He raised his head, tears streaming down his face. We are going to get through this, I said, looking him straight in the eye. You, me, and the baby. The baby. You decided to keep him? He asked. I touched my stomach. The doctor says he's perfectly healthy. He pressed his hand against the glass, opposite my belly. I'll get out of here, he vowed, his voice thick with emotion. I swear, I'll make this up to you both. Time was up. I left the detention center and walked out into the blinding sun. Maya was waiting in the car. How was he? Okay, I said. He said he'll get out. Good. Maya started the car. Oh, I have some news. Alex's uncle, Daniel Vance, turns out he wasn't just targeting Leo. He's being investigated for a massive Ponzi scheme. The feds are all over him. Really? My dad's friend at the SEC confirmed it. If Daniel Vance goes down, it could change everything for Leo's case. A week later, Daniel Vance was arrested. New Horizons Capital was exposed as a front for a massive fraud operation. Leo's case was re-examined in a new light. Mr. Davies submitted a new defense brief, highlighting Leo as a victim of a larger criminal conspiracy. A month later, the trial began. I was 5 months pregnant, my belly a prominent curve under my dress. I sat in the courtroom, Maya by my side. When they brought Leo in, he looked at me, his expression resolute. The prosecution argued for wire fraud, Mr. Davies countered, painting a picture of a desperate son entrapped by a vicious predator, a man who had misappropriated funds not for greed, but for love. He presented the journal, the medical bills, and a deposition from Daniel Vance, who, in exchange for a lighter sentence, had confessed to everything. After a long deliberation, the judge returned. The defendant, Leo Sterling, is found guilty of the crime of embezzlement. The judge's voice boomed. Given the substantial amount, this court would normally impose a severe penalty. My hand flew to my mouth. However, considering the extenuating circumstances, namely, the defendant's motive to save his mother's life, the clear evidence of entrapment, and his full cooperation, this court sentences the defendant to 2 years suspended, with 3 years of probation. Probation. He was free. Tears of relief streamed down my face. Leo was released from custody right there. Walking out of the courthouse, the sun felt warm on my face. Leo pulled me into a tight hug. "Thank you," he whispered in my ear. "Don't say thank you," I said. "Let's go home." The drive was quiet. There was too much to say. Back at my apartment, Leo took a long shower and changed into fresh clothes. He sat on the couch, looking at me. "The company is gone," he said. "I know. How much debt are we in?" "About $300,000, he said. "I'll pay it back." "We'll pay it back," I corrected him. He looked at me, his eyes full of emotion. "Chloe, you don't have to—" I said, "We're married." I cut him off. "For better or for worse, right?" He bowed his head. "I don't deserve you. I'll be the judge of that," I said. That night we ate a simple dinner of spaghetti and meatballs, which I cooked. Leo ate slowly, savoring every bite. "This is delicious," he said. "I'll cook for you every day from now on," I replied. He smiled, a real, relaxed smile. Life seemed to be returning to normal. Leo started looking for a job, but his criminal record made it nearly impossible. He was rejected from a dozen interviews. He didn't give up. "If I have to, I'll deliver for DoorDash," he said. "I can support us," I offered. "No," he shook his head. "I'm the husband. I need to provide." Just when we were starting to despair, the phone rang. It was one of Leo's old clients. "Leo, I heard you were out. Are you looking for work? We need a new CTO." Leo was stunned. "But my record." "I know about your record," the man said. "I also know about your talent. So are you in?" "Yes," Leo accepted without hesitation. The new company was a startup, small but with a lot of potential. Leo threw himself into the work. My belly grew bigger. 6 months. The baby was fine. The Blue Sky project was going well. I worked long hours, and Leo always came to pick me up. "Don't overdo it," he'd say. One weekend, we went to look at his mother's old house. It was a charming, slightly run-down bungalow in a quiet neighborhood. "We should sell it," Leo said. "It would clear some of the debt." "No," I said firmly. "This was your mom's. We can't sell it." "Then how will we pay the debt?" "We'll figure it out," I said. As if on cue, another unexpected visitor arrived. Leo's uncle, the one who had introduced him to Daniel Vance. He fell to his knees in front of us. "Leo, I'm so sorry," he wept. "I didn't know Daniel was a crook. He told me it was a legitimate investment." Leo helped him up. "It's over, Uncle. It's okay." "It's not okay." His uncle pulled out a bank book. "This is $50,000. It's all my savings. Take it. Pay off some of the debt." "No, Uncle, I can't," Leo refused. "You need this for your retirement." "If you don't take it, I'll never forgive myself," he insisted. In the end, Leo accepted. With that, and some of our own savings, we paid off a chunk of the debt. The pressure eased a little. The days turned into weeks. My due date was 3 months away. Leo's job was stable. My project was wrapping up. Life was getting better. But fate wasn't done with us. One Tuesday, I was in a meeting at work when a sudden, searing pain ripped through my abdomen. It was worse than anything I'd felt before. I clutched my stomach, my face draining of color. "Chloe, what's wrong?" a colleague asked. "The baby," I gritted out. "Someone call 911. At the hospital, the doctor's face was grim. "It's a placental abruption," she said. "We have to perform an emergency C-section. Now." "But he's only 7 months," I cried, grabbing her arm. "We'll do everything we can," she said. "But you need to be prepared." They rushed me to the operating room. Leo arrived just as they were closing the doors, his face a mask of terror. "Chloe!" he yelled. I saw his desperate face, and then everything went black. When I woke up, I was in a recovery room, tubes running in and out of me. Leo was by my bed, his eyes red and raw. "The baby?" I whispered. He was silent. A tear rolled down his cheek. "I'm sorry," he choked out. "He didn't make it." The world went silent. I couldn't see, couldn't hear. There was only a vast, empty darkness. My baby, my son, whom I'd never even met. He was gone. Leo held my hand tightly. "Chloe, you still have me," he said, his voice breaking. "I'm not going anywhere." I closed my eyes, and tears slid from the corners, soaking the pillow. After I was discharged, I took a long leave of absence. I stayed home, barely speaking, barely eating. Leo quit his job to take care of me. "Chloe, please eat something," he'd plead, holding a bowl of soup. I'd shake my head. "You have to, for your health." I'd look at his gaunt, worried face and manage a few spoonfuls. A month later, I started to slowly come back to life. I started taking walks, talking to people, but the hole in my heart remained. One day, Leo took me to a grief counselor. She suggested we consider adoption. "It might help you heal," she said. I was silent. Could I love a child that wasn't mine? On the way home, we passed a county children's center. Kids were playing in the yard, their laughter carrying on the breeze. I stopped, watching them through the fence. A little girl noticed me and ran over. "Hi, lady," she said. She was about 3, with big, bright eyes. "Hi there," I said, crouching down. "What's your name?" "Lily," she said. "That's a beautiful name," I said, and smiled. It was the first real smile I'd had since losing the baby. Leo stood beside me. "You like her?" he asked softly. I nodded. We started the adoption process. It was long and complicated, but we were patient. 6 months later, Lily was officially our daughter. She called me Mommy and Leo Daddy. The 3 of us moved into his mother's old house. We renovated it, painting the walls a warm yellow and filling a room with children's furniture. We planted flowers in the yard. Life finally found a quiet rhythm. Leo started his own small software company again. I took on freelance design work from home. The income was modest, but enough. We were still paying off the debt, but we weren't in a hurry anymore. One weekend, we took Lily to an amusement park. She sat on the carousel, laughing with delight. Leo took my hand. "Chloe, thank you," he said. "For what?" "For not giving up on me," he said, his eyes on mine. "For giving me this family." I leaned my head on his shoulder. "Thank you, too," I said, "for giving me a new life." As the sun set, we walked towards the exit, holding Lily's hands. Our 3 shadows stretched out long before us, merging into one. I thought our trials were over. I thought we had finally earned our peace. But fate is never that simple. On Lily's 3rd birthday, we threw a small party. Maya came, and she brought a man with her. "Chloe, Leo, this is my boyfriend Dylan," Maya announced. "Nice to meet you," Dylan said with a friendly smile. He was handsome in a clean-cut way with glasses. During dinner, Dylan kept looking at Lily with a strange intensity. "She's so cute," he said. "She looks a lot like you, Chloe." I smiled politely, thinking nothing of it. After they left, Leo cleaned up while I put Lily to bed. Late that night, my phone rang. It was Maya. Her voice was trembling. "Chloe, something's happened. Dylan, what about him?" I sat bolt upright. "He's Alex Vance's cousin," Maya sobbed. "He got close to me to get to you guys, for revenge." The phone slipped from my hand and fell onto the bed. Leo, startled awake, sat up. "What is it?" I looked at him, my face ashen. "Alex's revenge isn't over." Outside, the night was dark and heavy. The distant streetlights looked like malevolent eyes, watching our fragile, newfound home. Alex was in prison, but his reach was long. What did Dylan want? What would he do to Lily? The peace we had fought so hard for was about to be shattered once again. The silence in the room after Maya hung up was suffocating. Leo stared at me, his face a mask of disbelief in the dim lamplight. "Alex's cousin?" he repeated, his voice raspy. "Maya just found out," I said, my hand still shaking as I reached for the phone. "He got drunk tonight and let it slip. Said his cousin's suffering in prison had to be repaid." Leo threw back the covers and got out of bed. He walked to Lily's room and pushed the door open a crack. Moonlight streamed through the window, illuminating our daughter, sleeping peacefully, clutching her teddy bear. He stood there for a long time before gently closing the door. "Starting tomorrow, I'm taking Lily to and from preschool," he said, his voice low and hard. "And you're not to go out alone." Maya said Dylan took off, I told him. When she confronted him, he just stormed out. His phone is off. "Where would he go?" Leo frowned. "She has no idea. Her dad is already pulling strings, trying to find him." Neither of us slept that night. Leo sat on the living room couch, smoking one cigarette after another. I watched his long, lonely shadow on the wall. Around 4 a.m., I got up for a glass of water. He stubbed out his cigarette. "Did I wake you?" "Couldn't sleep." I said, sitting next to him. What are you thinking about? About Alex, he said, about the depths of his hatred, to still be doing this from a prison cell. Maybe it's not hate, I said softly. Maybe it's pride. Leo turned to look at me. A guy like him, he's used to getting everything he wants. Me leaving him, you and I getting together, those were defeats. He can't stand to lose. So he has to win, I said, clutching my glass, even if it means using the dirtiest tactics imaginable. The next day, life continued on the surface. Leo took Lily to school. I called Maya. Any news? Nothing, she said, her voice hoarse. My dad's contact checked traffic cameras. Dylan's car was seen heading out of the city last night, towards the mountains. We don't know if he'll be back. She paused. Chloe, I'm so sorry, I had no idea. It's not your fault, I said. He was planning this. But I should have seen something, Maya insisted, her voice thick with guilt. He was always asking about you guys. About Lily. I thought he was just being friendly. What did he ask? I felt a jolt of alarm. He asked where you adopted Lily from, what the process was like, who takes care of her most of the time. My blood ran cold. He also asked where you lived, where Leo's new office was, where you worked. Maya's voice trailed off. Looking back, it's obvious. He was gathering intel. After hanging up, I felt a chill despite the sunny morning. Dylan hadn't been interested in Maya at all. He was using her to get to us. When Leo got home, I told him everything. His face grew darker with every word. I'm going to see our lawyer, he said. See if we can get a restraining order. Will that work if he's already disappeared? It creates a paper trail, he said, grabbing his keys. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone. After he left, I sat on the couch, my mind racing. This house had just started to feel like a home, and now it was under siege. That afternoon, Leo picked Lily up from preschool as planned. I spoke with her teacher, he said when they got home. From now on, no one can pick her up except you or me, period. What did she say? She was very understanding. They'll be on alert. Leo ruffled Lily's hair. Daddy's going to be picking you up for a few days, okay, sweetie? Yay! Lily cheered, oblivious. That evening, Maya came over in person to apologize again. Her eyes were red and swollen. My dad had someone pull Dylan's file, she said, handing me a folder. I opened it. Dylan Reed, 28, insurance agent, no significant criminal record, but under family, it clearly listed, cousin, Alex Vance. Records showed Dylan had visited Alex in prison 3 times. The last visit was 2 months ago, Maya pointed out. A week after that, he arranged to meet me through a mutual friend. She gave a bitter laugh. It was all a setup. What about his job? Leo asked. He quit yesterday, Maya said. His coworkers said he'd been clearing out his desk for days. He was planning to run, Leo concluded. But he might come back. A week passed in tense silence. Dylan seemed to have vanished. Our lives fell back into a routine, but the knot of fear in my stomach never went away. Leo took on a new project and worked from home, emerging from his office every hour to check on Lily and me. On Saturday, we took Lily to the mall. She was trying on a dress when I saw him. Across the way, behind a pillar, a man in a baseball cap and a face mask was watching us. The build looked like Dylan's. Leo, I said, jumping to my feet. What is it? Over there, I pointed. The figure ducked back behind the pillar and was gone. Leo took off after him. I held Lily close, my heart hammering. A few minutes later, Leo returned, his face grim. He disappeared into the crowd. I lost him. Was it him? I don't know. But we're going home. Now. From that day on, we felt constantly watched. A car parked too long on our street. A figure glimpsed near Lily's school. It was like living with a ghost. Leo installed a state-of-the-art security system. He started taking self-defense classes. We can't live in fear, he said one night. We have to draw him out. It's too dangerous, I argued, especially for Lily. That's exactly why we have to end this, he said, his eyes hard. We consulted our lawyer, Mr. Davies, who advised us to go to the police. We did. The detective assigned to our case, a seasoned cop named Detective Miller, no relation, listened patiently. You have a credible threat, but no hard evidence, he said. Without a direct action from him, my hands are tied. So what do we do? I asked, frustrated. If he appears again, call 911 immediately. If he contacts you, record everything. Leaving the station, I felt a profound sense of helplessness. The law was on our side, but it couldn't act until the worst had already happened. The waiting was torture. Leo's insomnia returned. I woke up multiple times a night to check on Lily. She must have sensed our anxiety. One night, she padded into our room, clutching her bear. "Mommy, Daddy, are you sad?" she asked, her little face full of concern. "Of course not, sweetie." "Why do you ask?" I said, lifting her onto the bed. "Because Daddy doesn't smile anymore," she said, looking at Leo. "And Mommy is always staring at nothing." Leo and I exchanged a look. "Daddy's just tired from work," he said, forcing a smile. "Then I'll tell you a story," Lily declared, and launched into a rambling tale from preschool. Listening to her sweet, earnest voice, Leo's smile became real. It was the first time I'd seen it in weeks. 2 weeks later, we got a break. But it came from Alex. He'd had a medical emergency in prison and was transferred to a hospital. The prison had to notify his next of kin. His only registered contact was Dylan. He had finally resurfaced. By the time we found out, Alex had already had surgery, stomach cancer, late stage. It had spread. The doctor said he had 3 months, at most. "Should we go?" Leo asked me. I was silent for a long time. "Yes," I said. "We need to end this." In the sterile hospital room, Alex was a shadow of his former self, so thin and frail I barely recognized him. "You came," he whispered when he saw us. "Dylan didn't call us," Leo said. "We found out on our own." Alex gave a weak, rattling laugh. "Dylan, he saw I was dying, took the last of my money and ran. Typical." "Why did you want to see us?" Leo asked. Alex turned his head to look at me. "Chloe." "I'm sorry," he rasped. I was stunned. I never thought I'd hear those words from him. "It's too late for sorry," I said. "I know." He coughed, a painful, racking sound. When he could speak again, he said, "You have to be careful of Dylan. He's not just doing this for me." "What do you mean?" Leo asked sharply. "He wants money," Alex said, his eyes unfocused. "A lot of money." "We don't have any money," I said. "You do," Alex whispered. "Lily, she's not just some random orphan." The air in the room turned to ice. "What are you talking about?" My voice was tight. "Her biological parents." Alex struggled for breath. "They're rich. Very, very rich." My knees buckled. Leo caught me. "What the hell are you saying?" he demanded. "When you adopted her, the agency didn't know the whole story," Alex said in broken phrases. "She was abandoned, yes, but her parents, they're powerful people." "Who are they?" I demanded. "I don't know their names," Alex whispered, his eyes closing. "But Dylan found them. He wasn't getting revenge for me. He was setting up his own score. Extortion, kidnapping, it was all for him." On the silent drive home, my mind was reeling. Lily's parentage. In 3 years, we'd never questioned it. The agency had said she was a foundling, left at a hospital, parents unknown. We loved her. That was all that mattered. Now, that story had a dark, complicated new chapter. When we got home, Lily ran to us, holding up a crayon drawing. "Look, I drew our family." On the paper were 3 stick figures holding hands. "It's beautiful, sweetie," I said, hugging her tight, my voice choked with emotion. "Mommy, why are you crying?" she asked. "Because I'm so happy to have you," I said, wiping my tears. That night, we called the adoption agency director. "Mrs. Miller, why the sudden questions?" she asked. "We have reason to believe Lily's situation is more complex than we were told," I said. The director paused. "There were some details we withheld to protect her privacy," she admitted. When Lily was brought in, she had a note and a jade pendant. What did the note say? Just her date of birth and a single sentence. "Please take care of her. We will be back for her." And the pendant? "We have it in a safe. We were going to give it to her when she turned 18. Can we see it?" The next day, the director showed us the pendant. It was exquisite, a piece of high-quality jade intricately carved. It was clearly worth a fortune. "In all these years, has anyone come looking for her?" I asked. "A few inquiries, but we never release information," the director said. Although, about 6 months ago, a man did come, claiming to be a distant relative. She described him. It was Dylan. From the agency, we went straight to the police. The new information changed everything. If Dylan's intent is kidnapping for ransom, this becomes a federal case, Detective Miller said. The problem is, we still can't find him. He pulled up a file. He bought a plane ticket to Miami with Alex's money yesterday, but he never boarded the plane. A decoy, Leo said. Exactly. He's likely still in the state, the detective said. You need to be extremely careful. The next week was a nightmare. We were prisoners in our own home. Then, we got another call from the agency director. Her voice was panicked. Mrs. Miller, a lawyer, was just here. He represents Lily's biological parents. They want her back. My phone almost slipped from my grasp. Where are they? He wouldn't say, only that a formal petition would be filed. The director hesitated. He asked for your address. I didn't give it to him, but he said they already knew where you lived. The other shoe had finally dropped. Lily's parents, missing for years, were back, and whether Dylan was working for them or against them, Lily was now the prize in a very dangerous game. The fragile peace we had built was about to be obliterated. That night, it started to rain. Leo and I sat in the dark living room, watching the storm. I won't let them take her, Leo said, his voice a low growl. She is our daughter, in every way that matters. But what if they have the law on their side? Then we fight, Leo said, taking my hand. We fight them with everything we have. I looked at his determined face and felt a surge of strength. Okay, I said. Together. The doorbell rang, a frantic, insistent buzz. I looked through the peephole. It was Dylan, soaking wet, a manic grin on his face. Leo came out of his office, holding a golf club. Open it, he said. I unlocked the door. Dylan strode in like he owned the place. Long time no see. What do you want? Leo said, blocking his path. To deliver a gift. Dylan tossed a manila envelope onto the coffee table. Lily's birth parents have been found. Or rather, they found me. He laughed. They're offering $5 million for their daughter's safe return. The envelope contained photos of a wealthy-looking couple in front of a mansion and a picture of a little girl who looked strikingly like Lily. That's her older sister, Dylan said. They've been looking for Lily for 3 years. Why now? I asked. Because the people they were hiding from are gone, Dylan said with a smirk. They're safe now. Where are they? Leo asked. Overseas, but they'll be back next week. He looked at me. So here's the deal. I give you their contact info. You negotiate the return. I get a $1 million finder's fee. And why would we do that? Leo sneered. Because I know your weak spot, Dylan said, glancing around our home. Lily's adoption is legally questionable. You never disclosed her full background to the court. We didn't know, I protested. Tell it to the judge, Dylan shrugged. They'll sue you for kidnapping. The air crackled with tension. You have 3 days to decide, he said, getting up. After that, they contact you directly, and my fee goes up. At the door, he turned. Oh, by the way, Alex died last night. His last words were, I'm sorry. He smiled and left. I collapsed onto the couch. Leo knelt beside me. Stay calm. Let's look at this. The envelope also contained a copy of Lily's original birth certificate and a DNA report confirming her parentage. And at the bottom, a draft of a lawsuit accusing us of child abduction. Just then, Lily padded out of her room, rubbing her eyes. Mommy, Daddy, I had a bad dream. I scooped her into my arms. It's okay, sweetie, it's okay. I dreamed a bad man was trying to take me away, she whispered. Leo and I locked eyes over her head. That night, we didn't sleep. We can't lose her, I said. But they're her biological parents, Leo sighed. The court will favor them. Then we'll prove we can give her a better life. They're billionaires, Chloe. We have love, I insisted, looking at our sleeping daughter. Love doesn't pay the bills, but it helps a child grow up whole. The next day, Mr. Davies confirmed our fears. It's an uphill battle. Your best bet is to negotiate for visitation rights. What if we can prove they're unfit parents? I asked. They abandoned her. You'd need ironclad proof that their reason for doing so was invalid. We decided to meet them. Mr. and Mrs. Hamilton were polished and poised, but their eyes were cold. We thank you for taking care of our daughter, Mrs. Hamilton said. We are prepared to offer you a generous compensation. We don't want your money, Leo said. We want to keep our daughter. That's impossible, Mr. Hamilton stated flatly. You abandoned her, I said. We did not abandon her, Mrs. Hamilton said, her voice dropping. We were in hiding. Our lives were in danger. From who? Leo asked. They exchanged a look. Business rivals, Mr. Hamilton said vaguely. The threat is gone now. We want our daughter back. The meeting ended with an ultimatum. Return Lily in 1 week, or they would see us in court. The turning point came 3 days later. Maya burst in, looking frantic. I found something on the Hamiltons. They were in hiding, yes, but not from business rivals. She took a deep breath. Mr. Hamilton was wanted by Interpol for international securities fraud. We were floored. He's back now because the statute of limitations has expired in most countries, Maya explained. But a man like that, is he really fit to raise a child? We had our weapon. At our next meeting with the Hamiltons, when Mr. Davies presented them with a file detailing the fraud investigation, the color drained from their faces. We did it to protect our family, Mrs. Hamilton cried. And now? Leo asked. Can you give Lily a stable, honest life? Mr. Hamilton was silent for a long time. We love her, he said finally, his voice full of defeat. But perhaps you are right. In the end, we reached an agreement. We would retain full custody of Lily. The Hamiltons were granted monthly supervised visits. Dylan, for his part in the extortion attempt, was arrested. He got nothing. Life, finally, truly, settled down. When Lily was 7, we threw her a small party for her first day of school. Leo held my hand. Remember the first time we met? He asked. City Hall. You had that black shirt. Your eyes were so red. I never thought we'd end up here. Me neither, I said, leaning against him. Across the park, the Hamiltons stood under a tree, watching from a distance. They kept their promise, visiting once a month, always respectful. Lily was polite to them, but it was clear who she considered her parents. On the way home, Lily asked, Mommy, Daddy, am I adopted? Leo and I looked at each other. Why do you ask, sweetie? Because I look a little bit like Mr. and Mrs. Hamilton. We decided it was time for a version of the truth. You grew in another lady's tummy, but you grew in our hearts, I said, hugging her. That makes you extra special. She seemed satisfied with that. That fall, Leo and I had a proper wedding, a small ceremony in our backyard. Lily was the flower girl. Maya was my maid of honor. As we exchanged rings, Leo whispered, Chloe, thank you for being brave enough to say okay that day. I smiled. Thank you for saying it too. The next year, I got pregnant. This time, everything went perfectly. 9 months later, our son, Lucas, was born. Lily adored him. The Hamiltons visited once more before they moved abroad permanently. Please, take care of her, Mrs. Hamilton said, her eyes full of tears. She will always be your daughter, I told her. She hugged me, then walked away without looking back. Leo's company flourished. He paid off the last of his debts. I opened a small flower shop, a dream I'd had since college. One sunny afternoon, I was arranging a bouquet when Leo came to pick me up. Lily and Lucas were walking ahead, holding hands, their shadows long in the golden light. Mommy, let's go home, Lily called. I put down my flowers and walked out to join them. I thought back to that desperate, heartbroken woman I was, all those years ago in City Hall. She thought her life was over. She had no idea it was just beginning. Sometimes, the most absurd beginnings lead to the most beautiful endings. It's not about where you start, but who you have walking beside you. As Leo once said, marriage shouldn't be a game of chicken. But sometimes, when you take that dare, you win a lifetime of happiness. He was right. We won.